Okay, so for this question, we need to read the last paragraph, but we might want to start by reading a little bit in the paragraph before because, these paragraphs kind of blend into each other. That's how good writers write, is one idea follows from the next. So I would start around here where I gave you this line 62, just because I think, the quote makes no sense without the context either. So even more troubling to Malhotra was the fact that two scientists whose initial studies didn't work out went on to publish results based on a smaller sample. The non-test version of the same study, in which we used a student sample, did yield fruit, noted one investigator. So this seems kind of negative. Something is wrong. The next part, the paragraph we actually care about. A registry for data generated by all experiments would address these problems, the authors argue. They say it should also include a pre-analysis plan that is a detailed description of what the scientist hopes to achieve and how the data will be analyzed. Such plans would help deter researchers from tweaking their analyses after the data are collected in search of more publishable results. So this seems positive. So the last paragraph mainly serves to A, propose a future research project to deal with some of the shortcomings of current publishing practices noted in the passage. So the shortcomings part I kind of agree with. But a future research project, there's a plan, there's a registry, I guess, but it's not research. It's like, maybe project works, but research, they're not researching anything. They're creating a way to kind of capture the research, right? So the researchers use this database as part of their research. So maybe that's kind of iffy, but let's look at B, and I think you'll see why there's already a much better choice. Introduce a possible solution to problems discussed in the passage regarding the reporting of social science studies. Solution is much better here. They're solving the problem with this pre-analysis plan and everything like that. So it's not that they're creating a new project, they're just helping the projects that already exist. That's much better. Let's look at C and D though. Summarize the findings of a study about experimental results. Nope, we did that already. This is moving on from the results, from the summary, and moving on to what we do with that information. D, reinforce the importance of re-examining the results of all social science trials. Well, that's absolutely a strong word. The whole passage is just about the null results, so this is going too far. And this happens a lot with questions on the reading section. We get down to two choices. They're very similar. Our gut maybe likes the one we read first just because we read it first. But remember, if we have two choices, it's easier because then we can put them next to each other and say, well, there must be a difference. These are not the same. What is the difference? Narrow your focus. What makes them different? Right? And we already said here, is it a future research project or is it a possible solution? It's not a project. They're just solving the problem by making this database. Done. B is the answer here. Really do this. Make sure that you eliminate the junk first. And when you get to the two, you try to ask yourself yes or no questions or targeted questions. What makes them different? A lot of people complain that the reading is very subjective, that the two answers, there's a lot of times where they're the same. That is wrong. They are wrong. They just have not practiced enough. They've not studied enough. They've not watched enough of my videos. The answers are always different. And you can always tell the difference if you have just two things to think about. That's a lot easier. So narrow your focus.